record! Not this record! Not this record!
Part 1 saw us in Gibraltar, with its never-ending steps, wonderful accommodation, spectacular views and never-ending steps. Part 2 sees us hiring a car and heading into the Andalucia and Jerez, because you just can't have enough going up and down. We took the scenic route, passing Jimena de la Frontera, the first of the many white towns we would see and visit over the next few days. We stopped at several miradors, the viewpoints along the way, taking in the wonderful scenery and views back to Gibraltar. Our stop that day was to Ronda, but it was late and we were knackered. We couldn't do it the justice it deserved, so we decided to come back in a day or so. Home for the next few days was Grazalema, the wettest place in Spain, and nestled below the rocky crag of San Cristobal. As if to prove its credentials, the moment we arrived, the heavens opened. The following morning was at least dry, our Airbnb situated in its own little plaza, and a bust of the Andalusian anarchist José Sanchez Rosa, born in the town and shot by the Francoists in 1936 during the Spanish Civil War. After breakfast we headed down to the Plaza de España, the main square and hub of the town. The afternoon was spent walking in the hills around the town, the light ever changing as the heavy clouds roiled around the peaks. Roman in origin, Grazalema was once the centre of a thriving wool trade, producing cloaks, blankets and shawls. The Industrial Revolution killed the industry, and only since the establishment of the Sierra de Grazalema Natural Park and the subsequent tourism has Grazalema become slightly more prosperous. The Rio Guadalete rises above Grazalema, flowing through Zahara, Arcos de la Frontera and Jerez before flowing into the sea at El Puerto de Santa Maria, all places we were visiting in the coming days. The next day was a road trip day, setting off fairly early and hoping to get some great views from the miradors in the mountains. First stop was the Pueblo Blanco of Zahara de la Sierra, a beautiful fortified hill town clustered around the church and tucked below its ruined castle. With the weather slowly improving, it was on to Olvera, perched on a hill above the swathes of olive groves from which the town may be named. Once again clustered around the church and tucked below its castle. There were gorgeous views of olive groves all around. The landscape changed as we headed to the oddest of all the Pueblos Blancos, set in a cave-like streets formed by overhanging rocks, Setenil de las Bodegas. Once a major wine-producing area, the caves made excellent cellars or bodegas for storing the casks. Now a tourist destination, it was heaving with Spaniards out for their Sunday lunch with friends and family. Sunday lunch is quite important in Spain. Now not much more than a trickle, it was the Rio Trejo that carved out the gorge millennia ago. After lunch in Setenil, we returned, as promised, to Ronda, famous for its 18th century arch bridge over a deep gorge. The view from the Balcón de Coño was spectacular, and the updraft ferocious. Not easy to ignore is Ronda's links to bullfighting, with its statues of bullfighters, bulls, and its central bull ring. On the other hand, the gorge is home to chuffs, a rarity here in Britain, and crag martins, which are unknown here. Look closely and you can see them darting around in this clip. The Casa del Rey Mara, currently undergoing restoration, was famous for its gardens built by the Duchess of Parcen. It contains a water mine, which supplied it with water, down which you can travel to the water's edge at the bottom of the gorge. This tower was originally a minaret for a mosque back in the 14th century. There are old gateways and bridges and views down into the deep gorge. Back in Grazalema, it was still raining. As we prepared to leave the following morning, the innocuous-looking Guadalete had turned from this into a raging torrent. The rain cleared quite quickly as we left the mountains. First stop, Arcos de la Frontera, the westernmost of the White Towns. Beware of trying to drive through the streets of the Ciudad or Old Town. They are unforgivingly narrow. Fortunately, our friendly local helped us negotiate the most awkward of corners. It's a beautiful place to stroll through the tangled maze of ancient cobbled streets, and there's a spectacular view from the Mirador de Abades. By late afternoon, we were in our apartment, overlooking the Tío Pepe's sherry bodega in Jerez. Jerez de la Frontera is famous for its bodegas, and a centre for Spanish brandy too. The Alcazar is the old Moorish castle, and in the adjacent busy Plaza de Arenal is the inevitable bloke on a horse in a pond. After a day of sipping sherry, the evening entertainment took place in the Tabanco El Pasaje flamenco bar, full of locals enjoying the music and dancing.
Allá la revolver.
Leaving Jerez on our final leg, we visited ancient Medina Sidonia, allegedly founded by Phoenician traders from Sidon. Perched on its hill, it is clustered around the church of Santa Maria at the top. We arrived on Andalucia Day, and in celebration they were holding a soapbox derby down the narrow, cobbled streets of the town. Away from the race, the streets were empty and calm. There was one last stop at Alcalá de los Gazules. Here was a mountain bike event, which we left alone in search of quieter streets. The town was originally founded by a Berber family, the Gazules, hence its name. Here we found the college of Jesus, Mary and Joseph, and the wee little donkey.
With his toes in the air, my bantam cock laid and the vultures circle overhead they do.
It was here that I finally filmed some of the many vultures and eagles we had seen on our journey over the previous week.
You see them big daft buggers up there? They'll be down in a minute or two. They'll be down in a minute or two.
A swallowtail butterfly also put in an appearance. Then it was back to Gibraltar. Its myriad steps, a night in a hotel, and the usual shenanigans at the airport. The thrust, the turn, the views, the landing, the taxi, and finally, home.